Have you ever looked at someone, and before they said a single word, you already knew something was wrong? Not because of what they said, because of what changed. Their smile stayed in place, but their eyes stopped participating. Their voice sounded normal, but it came half a second too fast. Their message said, "I'm fine," but it felt emotionally empty, like they sent the response just to close the conversation. And suddenly, your body noticed something your mind couldn't explain yet. A pause that was slightly too long, a laugh that ended too abruptly, a person acting relaxed, while their jaw stayed tight the entire time. This is not magic, and it's not mind reading. It's emotional pattern recognition. Some people don't only hear words. They notice timing, tension, avoidance, the tiny behavioral shifts people make when they're trying to control what they feel. And sometimes this ability helps you understand people deeply, but sometimes it slowly exhausts you. Because once your brain learns to detect emotional inconsistency, it becomes difficult to ignore it. People can say anything, but the nervous system usually tells the truth first. Sign number 1. You notice the emotion before the explanation. Someone starts talking. They tell you what happened. They explain the situation. They give logical reasons. But while they're speaking, you're noticing other things. How they suddenly become overly calm while talking about something painful. How they keep adjusting their hands after a certain topic appears. How they maintain eye contact too carefully, like they're managing your perception in real time. You notice when someone says, "It didn't bother me," but their breathing changes right after. You notice when someone acts casual, but keeps repeating the same detail to convince themselves. And before they finish explaining, you already know where the emotion actually is. Not because you're assuming, because the body reacted before the story became organized. That's what most people miss. Most people listen to language. You notice regulation, suppression, deflection, the small delay before someone answers a personal question, the forced laugh after tension, the way someone suddenly becomes productive, cheerful, or talkative, right after something emotionally uncomfortable happens. And this can make relationships complicated, because people often believe they are hiding emotions, when in reality, they are only hiding the words. The body usually leaks the rest. Sign number 2. You can feel when the emotional atmosphere changes. You walk into a room, and something immediately feels different. Nobody says anything. The conversation continues. People are still smiling, but the energy becomes strangely careful, like everyone unconsciously adjusted themselves before you entered. And without meaning to, your body starts scanning. Who stopped talking too quickly? Who suddenly became too friendly? Who was avoiding eye contact? Who was pretending to be relaxed? You notice when silence feels natural, and when silence feels controlled. There's a difference. Natural silence feels settled. Controlled silence feels watched. And people who grew up around unpredictable emotions usually learn this very early. Maybe someone in your house could change moods without warning. Maybe you learned to listen to footsteps before conversations. Maybe the sound of a door closing told you what kind of evening it was going to be. Maybe everything is fine was only safe if you agreed quickly enough. So your brain adapted. It learned to monitor emotional shifts before problems became visible. And years later, your nervous system still tracks everything automatically. The short reply that feels emotionally colder than usual. The way someone suddenly becomes excessively nice after being distant. The tension hidden inside fake politeness. The smile that appears correctly, but disappears the second attention leaves the room. People call this sensitivity, but a lot of the time, it's pattern recognition built from emotional survival. Sign number 3. You notice when someone's behavior and emotions are disconnected. They say they support you, but they never emotionally engage with your success. They congratulate you, without asking a single real question. They say, "I'm happy for you," but immediately change the subject. They say they miss you, but never move closer. They say they care, but consistently disappear when emotions become inconvenient. And this is where emotional awareness becomes painful, because you stop reacting only to words. You start noticing participation, presence, consistency. You notice when someone responds too fast because they want the interaction to end. You notice when someone becomes overly positive right after conflict, instead of actually resolving it. You notice when affection sounds technically correct, but emotionally disconnected. And eventually, you realize something uncomfortable. A lot of people know how to perform warmth. Very few people know how to emotionally remain present. So you start seeing things you wish you didn't notice. The delayed resentment hidden inside politeness. The passive aggression disguised as jokes. The emotional distance hidden behind busy. The way some people only become emotionally available when they fear losing access to you. And once you start seeing these patterns, it becomes difficult to fully unsee them. You may stay quiet. You may act normal. You may even give people the benefit of the doubt. But internally, something already registered. And sometimes that awareness becomes isolating. Because reading people deeply does not automatically create closeness. Sometimes it reveals how emotionally disconnected people actually are from themselves. So if you read emotions like an open book, understand this. Your awareness is not valuable because you notice everything. The real skill is learning which signals deserve your attention and which ones slowly destroy your peace. Because not every shift in energy is your responsibility. Not every silence needs interpretation. And not every emotionally inconsistent person deserves unlimited access to your nervous system. Sometimes maturity is noticing the tension, understanding it completely, and deciding not to emotionally enter it. So let me ask you something. Do you think reading people deeply makes relationships more meaningful? Or does it slowly make trust harder over time? Write your answer in the comments. Because the way people answer that question usually reveals how many emotionally complicated environments they've survived.